Hey, what's up everybody? This is Will here. In between our normal podcasts, we're going to do some deck tech videos and gameplay videos. Today's deck is a strange character combination we've been calling Unkar's Misfits. After Worlds, we were brainstorming character combinations with the new Spirit of Rebellion cards, and Jonathan came up with this character list, and then I took that list and built a deck around it, and then I've been testing it with Brian and Andrew and tweaking the deck a little bit. So this deck plays a control game with Elite Unkar, Royal Guard, and TIE Pilot, trying to take as many cards out of their hand with Unkar's ability as possible, while controlling how many upgrades your opponent can keep in play. Royal Guard protects Unkar with his Guardian ability and 8 health, and TIE Pilot has the perfect die for this deck with 3 range sides, having a 3 side and a focus to use Unkar's ability or fire off loose ends. So let's go through the upgrades. Hunker Down and Armor Plating are there to keep Unkar alive as long as possible. And in a deck that revolves so heavily around Unkar's ability, we need to keep him alive as long as we can. Con Artist and Blackmail are there to put pressure on your opponent. Blackmail is an amazing die that they have to remove almost every turn, because even if you hit the blank, you have 3 character dice that have focus sides that can focus it to the 3 discard and remove most of their hand. There used to be 2 Con Artists in the deck, but with 2 loose ends, you have enough mill to get through their deck, and it's more important to keep Unkar alive with other control cards. Then we have Imperial Inspection, which assures your opponent won't be able to keep 1 and 2 cost upgrades on the board, as well as comboing into Unkar's ability, ripping that upgrade out of their hand. Salvage Stand also used to be a 2 of, but it's usually only useful with a Blackmail in play, and again, is better as another control card to keep Unkar alive as long as possible. Interrogation Droid will close out a lot of games for you with this deck. Just the ability to hit an event on activation is amazing, because generally events will have lower resource costs than the upgrades they're going to play. So once you remove their events, Unkar's ability will generally get the higher cost cards. Loose ends and no disintegration are your win conditions, and sometimes you can pull off plays like playing loose ends and then claiming with the ambush action. Generally, I don't play the first no disintegrations. I usually discard it to reroll, and then the second no disintegrations for 3 is huge. Then we move on to the control package of this deck. He Doesn't Like You, Feel Your Anger, Flank, and Electroshock are all the best control cards from Awakenings. While you do get Doubt from Spirit of Rebellion, I don't find it to be as reliable as these pure dice removal cards. Confiscation becomes amazing when you have a large number of resources with Unkar. I've bounced Mind Probes and One with the Forces easily, and then forced the opponent to discard them because the deck has so much resource disruption. Disarm is also incredible in this deck because of TIE Pilot and Royal Guard, both having a die with 50% damage sides. It's not unusual to remove your opponent's first turn upgrade and keep them off of upgrades for most of the game. Like Interrogation Droid, friends in low places will get the low-cost events out of your opponent's hand, making room for Unkar to take the high-cost cards. So the deck is tested well against some of the top-tier decks we've been seeing. Palpatine has an extremely difficult time beating this deck, and we're 3-1 against Poe Maz. My loss coming when my opponent had 1 card in hand, 0 cards in deck, and had to roll well with Poe and Maz to finish the game. The deck has had a little bit of trouble with Vader Raider that now has extra 4 strikes in the form of Fade and Switch, but the matchup is definitely winnable with so much control in this deck. When you're mulliganing with this deck, you really want to be keeping Blackmail, Imperial Inspection, Con Artist, and some control cards. I generally wouldn't keep Loose Ends or No Disintegration or Interrogation Droid. Then in the early game, I usually try to roll out TIE Pilot first, and then Royal Guard's activation will be dictated by when your opponent decides to roll their dice, and you can Guardian. But most of the time, you just want to be removing cards with Unkar's ability, using any dice you have in your pool. So if you like playing Control, try it out, and let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.